You know, I think people don't like rap nowadays because they say it has like a bad influence on kids. Like they have like a bad influence on kids. And I grew up with a bunch of kids. Like my mom ran a daycare and we had foster kids and we had adopted kids. I know kids pretty well, and I've got to be honest, kids are pretty fucked up anyway. They're awful people. They're tiny, tiny little Hitlers. All of them. They're all awful. No, seriously, the thing that makes everybody in here a good person is empathy and sympathy. That's when you learn, like, look, oh, I'm not gonna punch that person, because if he punched me, I wouldn't like that, so yeah. When you learn that, that's what makes you a good person. Kids don't have that yet, so they're awful, awful people. They're terrible people. They don't have it yet. That's honest. You ever see those kids in the supermarket? They're just walking around. They're just like, and just screaming, and their mom's like, Zachary, Zachary, I mean it, Zachary, Zachary, remember? Remember Zachary? Remember? The dolphin, remember? A dolphin. Remember we made the secret word? That means you need to behave. Dolphin's the word, and I just said it, so you need to behave. You understand? You understand? Huh? Okay? Okay, like the kid's gonna be like, oh, you're right, we did agree upon that. I'm gonna stop pissing in this Nutella jar and really start behaving. He's 3 years old, he doesn't know. Like, he can't even talk. He can't even talk, he doesn't speak English yet. That's the thing, like when they're like going like, ah, and they're screaming and they're spitting and they're screaming at their mom, they're not saying anything, that's because they don't know words yet. If they could talk, they'd be cursing their mom out. They would. They'd be like, oh yeah, mom, I'm just gonna eat this cookie for dinner. Yeah, I'm just gonna eat this cookie for dinner, it's not a big deal. I'm just gonna eat this cookie. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you fucking bitch! You knew I wanted that cookie for dinner and you put it somewhere I couldn't reach it. You're dead. You're fucking dead. I'm gonna tell Dad he's gonna beat the living shit out of you. Dad, this cunt that you married, put a cookie somewhere I couldn't reach it. Fucking kill her. I'll wait. That's what's in a kid's head. Kids are awful. Kids are awful people. You wanna know a testament to how awful kids are, how terrible kids are? I was walking down the street in LA. I was walking down the street from my restaurant, from one of my favorite restaurants, and I had like a bag full of food. And it's right across the street from school. And I saw two kids fighting over basketball. They're like, fighting over and just walking by. And one of them just goes, and just pulls it. And the other one goes, that's why your mom's in a fucking wheelchair. And I dropped my shit. I was like, what? You can say that? You can say those words in that order and you don't explode? Like the people police don't come down from the sky like, oh, I'm sorry, this person's a demon. I didn't even know. I don't know how he got out. That's the most awful thing in the world. Nobody in this room could get away with it. If you went to work tomorrow and it was like, hey man, Dave's being a real jerk today. Yeah, I know, what's going on? I don't know, but that's why his mom's in a fucking wheelchair. All right, I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Basketball later? No basketball later. I'm not playing with a monster. Tiny Hitlers. All awful. Seriously, that's why I wear condoms. I'm not having a baby. I'm not ready to have a baby. Like, and I know a lot of people are just like, I wear condoms because I don't want to get AIDS. But I gotta be honest, I'm sorry. I'd much rather have AIDS than a baby. Sorry, AIDS beats baby by this much. Seriously, people get all upset when they hear that. Say, think about it. They're not that different, you guys. They're not that different at all. They're both expensive. You have them for the rest of your life. They're constant reminders of the mistakes you made. And once you have them, you pretty much can only date other people who have them. What's the difference? What's the difference? The only difference is you can't go to jail by accidentally dropping AIDS. So, AIDS wins by this much. I'm serious. I mean, like, people, at least people, when you have AIDS, people are, like, aware of it, and people want to help you. People feel sorry for you. Like, people want to help you out and make other people aware of that when you have AIDS. People don't give a shit when you have kids. No one's just like, yeah, man, I'm living with kids. Been kids positive for about 5 years now. I lost a lot of my friends in the 80s to kids. And it's just, we're doing a kids walk tomorrow, and just, I'm sorry, one of my kids coughed in my face, I had to leave. Like, no one cares. It is weird, like, I remember, I was babysitting this kid once, this mean kid. I remember the first time I saw him, I opened the door, and there were tears streaming down his face. Tears streaming down his face, but he wasn't crying. He wasn't crying, just tears. He was giving me this mean look. He was like, ugh, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? What's going on with this kid? I found out later that his parents were very organic, and they wouldn't let him have any sugar. They wouldn't let him have any candy. The sweetest thing he was allowed was mints. He was just allowed to have mints. So he would steal mints by the handful. So his breath was so fresh, the vapors from his own mouth made his eyes water. Like, he'd be like, hello, like, they would just bleed. It was crazy. I would take him to the park, right, in Washington Square Park, and all the babysitters in New York for some reason are Trinidadian. They're all Trinidadian babysitters. And I would take him to the park, and I was the only boy there, I was the only hanging out. They were cool, we trade jerk chicken recipes and stuff. And he was just a mean-spirited kid. Like, he watched HBO just a little too early, and was just kind of a mean kid in general. So he would just come through and he wanted to get to a slide, so he just pushed over this little girl. She fell over, and a Trinidadian babysitter comes over and goes, hey, you leave that little girl alone. And he goes, shut up. And she goes, don't you talk to me like that. I am a grown-up. You will respect me. And he goes, suck my dick. And the lady goes, shit, you're not. The lady goes, someone better get this little niglet away from me. And I fell out because I have never heard the word niglet before. I've never heard it. My brain started, I was like, niglet? I haven't heard that one. Like, it was like insane. Like, the first thing that came to my head was like the name of a band or something. Like, everybody give it up for Bobby Johnson and the Niglets. And like 3 little kids, like slip fit suits come out. They sing like exclusively Hall & Oates songs. And I was like, niglet? I was like taking him home, I was still in my head. I'm like, niglet? Like, is that like the black version of Piglet? Like, niglet? When it was just like, hey, I'm Niglet. And like, Pooh's at the door. He's like, oh, come on, man. It's 3 in the morning. You smell like malt liquor. Shut up, I'm